This week, we kicked off our new Advent sermon series. It's called This Might Get Messy, and it's all about seeing, trusting, and following God in the messiness of life.
Oh boy, this is really a mess.
In Jesus, the most perfect, mighty God entered into human history, and he did so in a rather messy and complicated way. He was born of a virgin, and this created sort of a, shall we say, interesting situation for Mary's husband-to-be, Joseph.
Very perplexing situation.
So, this week, we took a look at Joseph and what his life can teach us about how to remain faithful to God when life gets complicated and messy. Now, Joseph had every reason to believe that his wife Mary had cheated on him. How else do you get pregnant? But at the end of the day, he was required by the law to divorce her and put her to shame for her unfaithfulness.
Shame on you.
Joseph could have reacted quickly out of rage, betrayal, disappointment, all the emotions that must have been swirling around. But instead of making a quick, snap decision based on emotions, he contemplated his options and waited on God. This gave God time to intervene.
And intervene.
And it's a good thing, too, because against all odds and all human reason, Joseph was informed by an angel in a dream that actually Mary was innocent. She was pregnant by the Holy Spirit. She hadn't cheated on him at all. And when Joseph found out about this new information, he was offered a special calling.
You are the special.
And it's that sense of calling that saw Joseph through. He accepted and embraced the calling, including all of the mess. And he taught us something important about following God. Oftentimes, God is at work through the mess.
Wow, that's deep. Really deep.
So Joseph had a sense of calling. He was asked to take responsibility for a child that wasn't his own. So as faithful followers of God, we have to ask ourselves the question, are we listening for God's calling on our lives? And are we willing to follow even when it's not simple or easy?
Well, it's not easy.
But let's rewind a bit and think about something else Joseph taught us even before he knew Mary was innocent. His initial response to finding out about what he thought was a deep betrayal was actually to respond not with vengeance, but with mercy and compassion. You see, he was required to divorce her and put her to shame, but he had a choice about how he would do it and how public he would be about it.
Shame on you.
Joseph could have chosen to be vengeful and angry, and I think most of us could have understood that decision. But at the end of the day, Joseph knew something about God's own heart, and he tried to follow along in that spirit. He knew that God desires mercy and compassion, not sacrifice.
Pay attention, this is important.
So Joseph was ready to divorce Mary quietly. That's not what ended up happening, but the point is that was his intention because he understood God's heart of compassion, and he wanted to extend that to Mary, even though he thought she had made a choice that hurt him.
That's beautiful. That's so nice.
So it turns out we can learn a lot from Joseph about how to follow God faithfully when things get difficult and messy. But what about when we're already on the way and things change and become even more difficult than we ever dreamed they could be? Well, we think maybe the Magi might have something to say about that this week. In the meantime, embrace the mess.